Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to go through the books that I got in January 2020. So let's get started. I come from India, where having fresh drinking water is a huge issue right now in big cities. So when I saw this book, Not a Drop to Drink, reminded me of the current situation in India and most probably the future struggles of the people living there. So the first one, Not a Drop to Drink. The next book I got is Seierstad. I love reading books that are set during the period of World War II. And this is a story about Sarah, a 10-year-old kid who locks her brother up in a closet when the cops arrive at the door, and 60 years later a journalist happens to somehow her story intertwines with the story of a journalist. Very interesting. Seierstad. The next book I got is the Book of Lost Things. This is the story about a little boy who loses his mother and he finds solace in reading books. Stories set in Afghanistan, the country torn by war, giving me an insight into the culture and the people and their lives before and after war is very interesting to me. I loved The Kite Runner and The Thousand Splendid Suns. So when I saw this book, The Bookseller of Kabul, I had to pick it up. The next book I got is Birds Without Wings. This is set during the Ottoman Empire. How war affects their lives and tears apart the fine balance and the community that the peaceful community that was living is the crux of the story. 2018 and 2019 were very bad years for me when it comes to reading because of things happening in my personal life. So I missed out on reading The Underground Railroad, the book which talks about Cora, a slave on a cotton plantation in Georgia, and her escape to Virginia. This year I am planning to read more of the authors from Indian subcontinent. I already love Rohingya Mystery, the book that you see here. A Fine Balance is one of my favorite books of all time. I picked 3 books from them. A People's History of Heaven. I never heard of this book, but it was highly recommended by one of the YouTubers. I think it was Rincy. So I had to pick it up, but I also love the design of this. This book is set in the slums of Bangalore or Bengaluru, and revolves around 4 girls or 5 girls, a Hindu, Christian, Muslim, gay, straight. The story is about these girls and their attempt to protect their slum from being broken down by the bulldozers. Very interesting. The next book I got is The Lowland by Jhumpa Lahiri. This book is about 2 brothers, Subhash and Udayan. They were very close when they were kids, and as they grow up, Udayan is attracted more to the Naxalites and their beliefs. Quite interesting. I have never read anything about Naxalites in India or someone joining Naxals. So it would be an interesting read. Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth. I already have this book in my collection somewhere here, but it's quite old and I did not get to read to it, so I wanted to have something with a better print. It's huge. So A Suitable Boy is about a woman and her daughter and her attempt to find a suitable match for her daughter. The book describes newly independent India, the situations surrounding the first general elections of India. It has to be very interesting. So, in 2020 reading list, I have book Legend by Marilu, and this I've already finished reading it because it's YA. It was super fast, and therefore I picked up Prodigy. Jen Campbell from YouTube loved the work of Nicci French in one of the series that she suggested, but I wanted to test her reading style, so I got a much smaller and leaner version of her work, Land of the Living, highly rated on Goodreads. The next book I got is Saint Mazie, one of the books I missed reading. This is the story about a woman who works at the theater and somehow gets involved into the lives of homeless people, giving them shelters and helping them out. Very interesting premise. So saying Mazie, what happens if you get to live your life again and again and again until it is the perfect life that you want? That's what this book, Life After Life by Kate Atkinson, talks about. Premise like that, I have to read it. Reminds me of Butterfly Effect or one of the books from Stephen King. I think it's 1163. The next book I got is Keeper of Lost Things. This is the story about a guy who collects lost things as an atonement to something that happened in the past, and when he is running out of time, he gives the responsibility of reuniting the lost things with its owner to his secretary. Premise very interesting, so I had to buy this. So that is it from my side. Do you have any suggestions of the authors and books from the Indian subcontinent? If so, do let me know in the comments section below. Hope to see you soon in the next video. Cheers.